I told the world one day I would pay it back. Say it on tape and let it record it so that one day I can play it back. But I don't even know if I believe it when I'm saying that. I'm starting to creep in every.
What is up, everybody? I don't know. Can you guys hear me? I thought my mic went out for a minute. I hope everybody is having a great day. Welcome back to our channel, Red Bull Coffee and Crime. Today is going to be definitely a crazy one. It's a case that is very, very interesting. Some of you may have heard about this case. Nicco Jenkins. You guys, just like a lot of other cases, like once you start doing the research, like I have, you find out there's so much misinformation surrounding this case, and you really have to dig. So I hope everybody has their coffee, their Red Bull, a snack, because it is a long one. It is going to be several different parts. I am going to be sharing a interview that I got permission to use from Unforbidden Truth podcast. I left the information in the links, and I will also post, a link that you guys can click on. I love this channel. If you're not subscribed, please go subscribe. They do interviews with several different serial killers that are in prison. It's an amazing channel. So I will be playing a little bit of the interview from Nicco Jenkins on their channel. um, so yeah, like I said, there's so much misinformation surrounding this case. I'm just like, why isn't any of this being talked about? But that comes with a lot of cases, misinformation, rumors. But in this one, there's definitely a very biased narrative around this case. Um, a lot of people make it out to be like Nicco is the only offender. And he's definitely not. We're going to go through his younger years, we're going to go through his family. Um, there's a lot to take in. So I hope you guys are listening. Um, and I will start. So Nicco was born September 16th. He is a Virgo. Um, he was born in Colorado, but he grew up in Omaha, Nebraska. He was one of 6 siblings. When he was growing up, he was physically abused. He witnessed a lot of violence. He used to have to get in the middle of his mom and dad from fighting, and afterwards he would have to clean up blood from the floor. I mean, this is at a young age, you guys. I'm talking about like young, 4, 5, 6, really young. So you have to just think about how traumatic that is for especially a young child like that. Um, his whole family has a whole extensive criminal background. I have his background put on the screen. You can't really see it. I will definitely do another video speaking about all of these people, but it goes back to his great great grandfather, Levi. Um, ah, Levi Levering. Um, he, hold on 1 second. Let me pull it up on the screen. Oh, I don't know if I can. Hold on. Let me see if it'll fit on here. It won't, but it started back, from his great great grandfather. Out of all of his family, there is generations and generations of felonies, felons. Since 1979, there were 633 crimes involved with this family. Um, so Nicco's great great grandfather, he was a respected tribe leader, and that's where it all started from. He had a son. His son did a lot of things, ended up killing someone as well. So it starts from like way, way, way back. And we will go through all of that because it definitely is a lot. Hey, Arctic. I thought I sent you a link, or was it to Garnett? Um, I'm going over Nicco Jenkins. Definitely a crazy case. But I hope you are having a good morning. Had to do some running around this morning. Are you back home? So, yeah, 633 crimes since 1979. I mean, Nicco was born into this lifestyle. It started when he was 7 years old. He brought a gun to school, and that was the first time he got in trouble. His family was well known by law enforcement, just by everybody. But this was the very first time that he got caught up. Um, Good morning. Hello.
I know nothing about this one, Lexi.
Isn't that how it usually happens? I thought I sent you the link, but I must have sent it to Garnett.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't get any link. I'm still sitting in my car waiting on my mom. So
oh, is today one of those days?
yeah.
Did you get some Burger King?
Oh my God, never again. Not ever again at that one. No.
I don't know what it is with you and fast food. I
Oh,
mean, first it was Whataburger.
well, Whataburger was understandable because they had just opened that up. But yesterday, I was like, well, I'd taken chicken out. I was going to cook chicken for dinner, but it was still like frozen solid. I could have built a house out of it. So I decided I was going to go to Burger King and just pick something up. If you ever want to spend your entire lunch hour waiting in the drive-through for your food, that's the Burger King to go to.
I don't think anyone wants to. I don't even like Burger King. Like I that is the one fast food restaurant. I don't know, I can't stand.
Well, see, I'm not their biggest fan, but they're cheaper than a lot of places, and honestly, the McDonald's here sucks. So
Oh my god. I think you just need to order food and yeah, get it delivered.
well, yes, next time will be a Grubhub type of day. I'm telling you.
Right? Like take your chicken out the night before.
No, I did. I had taken it out the night before, but it was still like a damn brick. So I was like, okay,
Hey Slug.
hey, Sluggy.
So, do you know nothing about Nicco Jenkins?
No, I've never
Oh
heard
my
of this case
gosh.
before.
It is insane. It is insane. It's definitely going to be like a multi-part thing. I got permission from Unforbidden Truth podcast. They do interviews with serial killers in prison, and I got a friend request from them. They're friends with Chris Thorns, and um, yeah, I checked out their YouTube channel. I'm like, oh my god! So I saw the Nicco interview, and I'm just like so intrigued with it all because he's on death row, but and I'm all for death row, and I really, really do not think that this man needs to be on death row. It's an insane case. Arctic Junior, huh? Junior and baby case. Baby found Junior not. Hey, Six Sense, good to see you. Is that one that you put out, Junior?
Levi covered it over on his channel, I think, and I shared Levi's video.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you guys, I played some music to wait for people to come in, but I
Hey,
see
Six Bucks.
I see people are just getting in here, but like this case, just like many other cases, you really, really have to dig and do your research. Like there's so much misinformation. Um, there is just a lot of stuff that people don't talk about, and you're like, why? Like this is very important. Like the background, where they come from, how they grew up. Um, there's definitely a very biased narrative around this case, um, and they make it out to be like he's the only offender, but like I don't know if you were just hearing, um, out of all his family from 1979 there was 633 crimes committed. Like his whole family are just a bunch of felons. um, so Nicco, like he got in trouble his very first time. Well, he used to, at a young age, he used to have to like break his parents up during fights. He was physically abused. After his parents would fight, they would make him clean up the blood on the floor. And this is like 7 below. He's like 5 cleaning up his parents' blood on the floor. Um, so yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. At 7 years old, he brought a gun to school. Now, this is the first time he's ever got in trouble. Law enforcement, of course, know his whole entire family. They're very well known. Um, and so when he brought this gun to school, it all started from there. After that, he went to a foster care. He started seeing a therapist at 8 years old. He told the therapist he wanted to hurt himself. He wanted to hurt others. And when he brought the gun to school, he actually wanted to shoot his classmates. Like, that was what he intended to do, was go in there and shoot classmates. He was wetting the bed. At 8 years old, he was still wetting, and up to like, I think 12. The therapist just put it off as anxiety from home life and just the stress of home life. So he was diagnosed with bipolar. And at this point, nobody helped him. I'm like, why is nobody putting him on any kind of medication? Nobody's trying to help him. They just diagnose him and that's it. So after this, he bounces around from different foster homes. He had no stability. At age 11, he joined his first gang. And let me play a part of his interview because it has to do a lot with what we are talking about now. Hold on. I suck at screen sharing. I need to learn how to record. There's a lot of background noise. I don't know what it is. It's Arctic's loud, nice Mustang. Okay. She said it stopped now. You don't hear the train?
No, that's my seatbelt thing because I don't ever wear my seatbelt.
Why do I always think it's a train? What the heck? All right, you guys. So I'm going to play this part of the interview first. And again, this is Unforbidden Truth Podcast. If you guys haven't, please go check them out, subscribe, and they definitely have a lot of very interesting videos.
Of understanding the death penalty proceedings against him. On July 29th, Judge Battalion ordered him to be housed at the Lincoln Regional Center Psychiatric Hospital until hospital staff condition.
Hold on.
In May 2017, Nicco Jenkins was sentenced to death, plus received an additional 450 years in prison on weapons charges connected to the 4 murders. On April 20th, 2020, the U.S. Supreme Court refused to hear Nicco's appeal.
God,
Part 1 of my
Arctic.
interview with spree killer
That is
Nicco
so
Jenkins.
loud.
Where were you born?
I was born in Denver, Colorado, and I moved to Omaha when I was like 3 years old, so I don't remember nothing about Denver.
Can you recall the first positive memory you had as a child?
First positive memories was of my mother always spoiling me. Like, I was my mom's only son out of 5 children, so she always went out of her way to spoil me and give me what I want. So I can just remember just getting toys that I wanted when I was like a little kid for my birthday, stuff like that. I loved Ninja Turtles when I was a little kid, so she used to buy me everything Ninja Turtles, like the pajamas, the blankets, sheets, and...
Okay, Arctic. I'm gonna mute while I play this. I can't hear the interview good. All right, hold on. Okay, let me know if you guys can hear because the interview is kind of low, but let me see.
Toys and just the little costumes, everything. That's basically the first memory I can remember.
What about your first negative memory as a child?
Probably was childhood abuse when I was getting abused, getting dumped in the ground in my head and worked with stitching cords and thrown downstairs and stuff like that. And that happened like when I was 3 or 5 years old. But I don't want to say who did it to me though, just because it was in my family. But I just don't feel comfortable saying who did it because I don't want to put them in a bad negative light. But it happened though.
Was that all the extent of the abuse, or was there more that went on in the household?
Basically, yeah, that was it.
Were your parents together while you were growing up?
Yeah, my mom and my dad was together until I was turned probably like 8 years old or 7 years old, something like that. But it was kind of bad because my father was diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder as well. So he would have a lot of mood swings and outbursts, and then he was drinking a lot. He used to use alcohol and drink, so it made him kind of violent towards my mother. And
did you witness those mood swings and everything that he would, be acting out? Were you there to witness that?
Yeah, I witnessed that stuff. And like my dad, he used to, do illegal things to get money and stuff like that. But I just witnessed a lot of a lot of violence, a lot of fighting, a lot of assaults on people getting assaulted, people getting hurt. I had to clean up blood from the floor. I'm like just seeing people getting hurt from the time of a little kid, from like the age of 3 to 5 and up until the adolescent.
Is that just from all the criminal activity that was going on in the family?
I was more so forced to do it because that's just how it was. And it just was a part of normal life to me because I didn't know nothing else.
Were you close with your mother, Lori, growing up?
Yes, I'm a mama's boy to my heart, man, through and through. I love my mom, I slept in the bed with my mom since I was 12. I'm a mama's boy, and I'm real close with my mother.
So you guys, remember that he was really close to his mom. He slept in the bed until he was 12 years old with his mom, and he was also bedwetting at that time. He's saying he's witnessed and gone through all this physical abuse, but he was still a mama's boy. Like, he was the only son. It was one out of, he had five sisters from his mom. Let me make sure. 4 sisters from his mother, 2 brothers from his father, and 2 sisters from his father. So he had all these siblings, and most were girls. But he said that in his household, he was the only boy. So he was very close with his mom. I unmuted you, Arctic. Oh, can't unmute your guest. Oh.
No, I had myself muted because I was doing some stuff.
Brain development is affected when children are abused. It definitely is. And in this case, once we go on, you guys will learn more. And this is why I just don't get it. Everybody failed him. He was born into this lifestyle. His dad used to, praise him for beating up kids at school. He'd be like, show me what you did, and he would just laugh. And sleeping in the bed with his mom at 12. Yeah, he was sleeping with his mother at 12 years old and still wetting the bed. I'm gonna play a little bit more.
Really close to my mother.
Did she have any type of mental illnesses or anything?
No, not that I know of. Not that's been documented or nothing.
How many siblings do you have?
I have 4 from my mother, 4 sisters from my mother, and I have a brother, 2 brothers, and 2 sisters from my father's previous relationships.
Arctic, you keep leaving
Were
me.
you close with any of them growing up? Your siblings?
Yeah, my big brother came down here since I was like 6 years old, so I was close with David McGee Jr. He's my dad's junior. You know, growing up, he was always there for me. He always looked out for me. He taught me a lot of things and just was there for me growing up.
We've talked a little bit about mental illness, but can you talk about everything that you've been diagnosed with to date?
Schizoaffective bipolar type. Schizoaffective means basically that I'm a schizophrenic with a mood disorder. So I have the worstest diagnosis that someone can suffer from because of basically I have to be treated like even me.
All right. So, you guys, I'm going to pause it right there real quick. Let me go from good morning, Sarah. How are you? From 11, he got in the gang. At 17, he got charged for 2 armed carjackings. He was supposed to do 15 years in prison. At 19, he went to an adult prison. And there he took place in riots. He assaulted an officer while he was out for his grandma's funeral. So he got in a lot of trouble, and he added on like 5 extra years. But he only served 10 years out of the time he was supposed to do. I think it was like 20 years in total. So it was 60% of 60% of that time it was in solitary confinement. He once did 2 years, solid 2 years in solitary confinement. Like, could you believe being alone in a prison cell that long? I would go crazy. And he already has a mental disorder. In 2013, he got out. He took a psychological evaluation. He was still struggling. He was hearing voices in his head. He was seeing things. He even mutilated his face. He took like razors to his face, and you can see all the scarring that he has. That's from him. He was drinking his own urine.
Yeah.
And no, get this, and he was snorting and drinking his semen
Ugh.
because this is what he says, because it's a form of a nutritional supplement, and that it would increase his serotonin levels to help him.
I'm all about the scientific values of protein shakes as much as anyone, but
I don't. Ugh, ugh. You should try it sometime, Arctic, and let us know how it goes.
perhaps.
If it goes good, maybe I'll take some of my mans. No, I'm playing. It's so disgusting, but yeah, I mean, he thought that was helping him somehow. It was helping his anger, and but he was still hearing voices. He was hallucinating. He was actually saying that. Let me pull this up on screen. This is who he was speaking to him. Hold on. I'm telling you, it's a lot. Like, it's a whole lot of stuff. Very disgusting too. So it was to please the ancient Egyptian serpent god Opius. Let me pull it up. I'll show you guys. So this is who was speaking to him. Images. Share this tab. So, okay. this is the God that was speaking to him, or the whatever. Um, I I don't even know. Um, it was actually an evil, like, hold on, stop sharing. I got lost. Help me. Oh, so that that demon spirit, I mean serpent, is Greek, and it's the most commonly used. The name Opius is the most commonly used name. According to some scholars, Opius was a form taken by the god of darkness and evil. Some early myths say that Opius was primarily a sun god himself, but had been cast off. So this is who is speaking to him. He did everything because of this god or spirit, whatever the hell the thing is. Um, and during his life going through this, his mom at one point put him on medication finally. But his dad told his mom that it was killing him. It was poisoning him and to take him off immediately. Um, he also needed 27 stitches after he hacked at his penis as a tribute to this Egyptian god. Um, he did that to his face. He cut his tongue down the middle to look like a snake because of this thing. So he definitely had a lot of mental illnesses, you guys. Like, I mean, and he needed help for it. Um, he didn't get the help. His dad, when he did get the help, his dad took him off. He was like, no, he's getting poisoned. So let me play a little bit more of this interview.
Taking my antipsychotic injections and I'm refusing to take mood stabilizers, I still have psychotic episodes of mutilation of myself and like outbursts of verbal psychotic episodes.
And let me say, this is from Unforbidden Truth podcast on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed, please go check their channel out. They do different inmate, serial killers interviews, and I think it's definitely interesting what they do.
Like rants and stuff because of my mood swings. So basically, yeah, that's what it is, and that's what schizoaffective bipolar type means. That I'm a schizophrenic with a mood disorder. But when you diagnosed.
Well, what, Tux? You've got food over there. Oh, a good kitty. Yeah, no bites.
the neighborhood and clear trash bags and scare the kids on the bus stop. Like, I didn't even want to do it, but the voices was telling me to do it.
Arthur, can you hear any of that?
Well, the last like 30 seconds.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I guess I can't mute my mic because I don't know why. Hey, Garnett.
Hi, honey.
Yay.
Hey, Garnett.
Hey, I feel like I've been gone forever, guys.
You have. You've left us and
I am sorry.
how are you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm just waking up. Like, just opened my eyes, guys.
Oh my god. Did you get some coffee?
No, I got some YouTube. What are we doing?
Nicco Jenkins, and you just missed the best part. It's good to you need to ask your hubby for a cup of semen and you have to snort it because it's good for, your serotonin levels.
How about no? What is wrong with you?
That's what he used to do. We just got done talking about it.
My God.
You missed
Okay.
a lot. So we're going over this case, and we got permission from Unforbidden Truth podcast they interview serial killers. And
Well, it is prison, and you can't always get a honey bun. And I'm sure salt's hard to come by there too.
oh god,
Stop, guys.
oh my god, I can't. Can you imagine him like,
You're
hey,
not allowed
who needs some sperm to snort?
Before they have coffee. What
Like,
the?
who needs some sperm to snort? I'll trade you for some noodles. Like, what? I promise you, it helps.
It does not. Oh my god.
So yeah, we're playing. This channel is definitely awesome. That's how I learned of Nicco Jenkins, and that's who I told you I was writing to. And he actually, Andrew, the guy that's interviewing him, says that he writes basically everybody back. But he said use a PO box, and I'm like, yeah, definitely. I don't know. I don't feel like this guy should be on death row, and that's what we're going over. We're going back on his, younger years. You definitely missed all of that, but
So this is the guy that was. It's more of a mental health issue than that was never addressed and turned into a serial killer. Correct?
yeah, like he was, at a very young age.
Left off.
Okay, let me play
We're
the
good.
interview. Let me know if you guys can hear it.
I was 12 years old. Officer voice came in and intervened. I stabbed her in her knee. But, like, I can remember even back then, like, she would tell you, like, if you asked her if she was to do this interview, she would tell you that we didn't fight or anything. We didn't have any kind of disagreement. I just came in there and just stabbed her and left. Once I got older, they revealed themselves as demons. But, like, back then, it was just voices in my head that told me to do stuff, and I didn't know what they were. Like, I used to even, like, kill animals, like mutilate squirrels and rabbits and stuff, and, like, and gouge their eyeballs out and stab them in their stomach and pull their guts out and carry them around the neighborhood in clear trash bags and scare the kids on the bus stop. Like, I didn't even want to do it, but the voices was telling me to do it. And, like, kids would get off of the bus, like these were like junior high and high school kids, and they would be scared. And, like, it was just like, I can remember, like, even stuff that I used to do like that, like, just very disturbing, abnormal type things that you can tell. This was after I got out of the hospital too. So, because I was in a psychiatric hospital when I was 8 years old, and I got committed for 14 days.
What was that experience like for you?
For me, it was torture because, like, I was in emotional distress, so I was seeing more. I had more hallucinations, and I was getting more voice commands. Like I see black spirits in my room, like and I was hearing more voice commands and stuff like that. And I was like beating myself up, and that was the first time I started having self-harming behaviors, where I started hitting myself and pulling my hair and stuff.
And this was as a child?
Yeah, this was at 8 years old when I got committed to Richard Young at Methodist Hospital in Omaha, Nebraska.
Were you just physically violent towards everybody? Were you just out of control, or was it just something that was like blown out of proportion at the time?
No, that was very true. Like I was basically having a lot of psychotic episodes, and because I was facing that abuse, that physical abuse, and basically, I've done extensive research into neurology and the catecholamine neurotransmitters. You're the region of the brain of the hypothalamus where mental illness lies is believed to lie in neuropeptine, catecholamine neurotransmitter. And cortisol is the stress hormone. So basically, when I was being abused, when you get hurt or you get any kind of experience any kind of discomfort in your life or distress, the stress hormone cortisol begins to secrete. So I think that the chemical stimulation of the cortisol was being absorbed into my catecholamine and my neurotransmitters, and they causing my mental illness to disrupt. And that high level of cortisol stress hormone was causing my brain to try to recompensate and secrete more epinephrine and norepinephrine. These are excitatory secreting neurotransmitters. So it's like adrenaline. So basically that's what was causing me to have these outbursts, because I had so much adrenaline coursing through my veins, and then I had the stress hormone. And I was depressed. I was getting beat. I was, forced to do criminal stuff because of my demons. Or the voices back then, the demons would scare me at nighttime. Like, that's why I was so scared at night, always, like, as a child. Like, because, if I didn't do enough bad stuff during the day, the demons and stuff would tell me they're going to get me at night. And I would literally feel them touching me and shocking me, making me pee on myself. Touching, I could feel it. And I used to tell my mom all the time when I was young, when I used to see him and I used to feel him, and nobody would believe me, but I was still like, man, it was so real to me though.
Were you telling anybody else besides your mother at the time?
Yes, my aunt Cordella Carter, she raised me. When my mother was working, this is my dad's sister, David McGee's sister. Her name was Cordella McGee, but she got married, so her name changed to Carter. And she raised me, and those were all my childhood memories that were positive and good. Like, she never yelled at me, never whooped me. She just loved me and treated me good. My aunt is the one who got me, my mom, that sent me to the hospital, because my aunt was mentally ill too. She had schizophrenia.
So let me stop that right there. It seems like, okay, he had one person in his life, and we're going to go over her. On the next episode, I'm going to have all the family, what they've done. It's going to be a lot. But that seemed like the only person. I mean, she's the one that found out, not found out, but made anyone do anything about his mental illness. She's the only one he wasn't being physically abused by, it seems. Why take him from her? I don't understand the way people think. It's definitely a weird situation with this family. Did Garnett leave us? Yes, she did. Where are you, Garnett? I want to play this video real quick, you guys. Hold on.
You could say Nicco Jenkins and his relatives have had a colorful past. Just look at their family tree. 7 felons in just 2 generations. Let's start with Nicco's uncle, 51-year-old Warren Levering. He's a felon just released from prison in Oklahoma and has done time in Nebraska, too. Investigators say he's fathered 7 children with 6 different women in 5 states. This week, prosecutors charged him as an accessory in the murder of Andrea Kruger. They say he helped Nicco get rid of Kruger's car and tried to set it on fire near 43rd and Charles. Prosecutors say Levering got the gas can from his sister's house, Nicco Jenkin's mother, Lori. Lori just bonded out of jail herself this week on an unrelated felony terroristic threats charge. In addition to Levering, Lori has 2 other brothers. Both are convicted felons. One is even currently on parole. Investigators say Lori Jenkins had 6 children with David McGee but never married him. McGee died in 2009 but was a felon himself, convicted of terroristic threats. Of the couple's 6 kids, 4 have been arrested in the past month. 23-year-old Erica Jenkins is a convicted felon now facing murder and weapons charges in the death of Curtis Bradford. Friday, she told Judge Caniglia she can't be a killer because she's 3 months pregnant. Investigators say she has a 7-year-old son, too, that initially was placed in child protective custody. Erica's little sister, 18-year-old Lori Sales, known as Lolo, is charged in Bradford's murder, too. Prosecutors say she got rid of the murder weapon. A third sister, Melanie, also a convicted felon, bailed out of jail last week on unrelated terroristic threats charges. She's 25, and investigators say she has 3 children under the age of 7, and all were initially placed in child protective custody. As for Nicco Jenkins, he was just released from prison before prosecutors say he shot and killed 4 people. He's 27 years old and legally married to 22-year-old Shalonda Jenkins, seen here in a recent interview, and told us she's pregnant with Nicco's child. Nicco has 2 other sisters, both live out of state, and neither are in much contact with the Omaha Jenkins. A broad look at the ties to one man, a man prosecutors say has uprooted 4 other families.
You guys, so this is 633 crimes since 1979 with all his family members. They just keep bringing babies into this, and it seems like they're raising criminals. Like they're just doing it. I don't know what they're doing just to have some kind of legacy. I don't know what you call it. It is sad. This is his whole life, and he's learned from all these people. This is how he grew up, and that's why I'm saying, like, I don't understand the death penalty. We really haven't gone over his crimes, but in the next video we will. I don't know. I feel bad for him. Garnett, Arctic.
Hello.
I mean, it's hard to feel bad for someone that goes and commits atrocious crimes. I mean, I feel bad for how he grew up. I feel bad that he had a shitty childhood. But, you would think, like, we've all had bad shit happen to us. And we take those past experiences, a normal person does, and use it to help others rather than hurt others.
Right, to keep from ever having that happen to somebody else, not.
Exactly.
I mean, I understand because we went over this, Garnett, in a video one time, right? But
Yes.
yeah, that's what it intergenerational abuse. Yeah, it just goes from generation to generation. But you guys, he's 2 years old seeing all this stuff happen. Nobody's getting him mental help. I mean,
That's true too.
I don't know if any of us haven't been through that. I mean, years and years of seeing and doing all these things, getting praised for beating up people, for, I mean, I don't know. I feel
it's a tough situation, and I get what you're saying, but when you asked me about this, I said I have a really hard time. You can't erase the pain and misery that he's caused on other families.
you can't, but I'm all for death penalty, as you guys know. I'm all for it, and I've never actually seen a case where I'm like, okay, well, does he need to die or does he need to stay on this he will talk about medication now in this interview as we go on because he's on it now.
My opinion on the death penalty has evolved because at one time we didn't have the DNA, we didn't have the forensics that we have access to now. So there was a time when a lot of people that didn't commit these crimes got put to death wrongly. But today, especially in cases where the DNA is there to prove 100%, yes, this man committed this atrocious crime. Absolutely. Why should the taxpayers support these deadbeats for the rest of their lives?
I feel like that on all cases except this man for some reason. I'm weird, I guess.
Well, we knew that, but that's beside
Whatever. I don't know anything about this case. Yeah, I mean, that's why we're just going through his childhood and everything that his family's done. It just speaks a lot about how he is or what, you know. I mean, he was in a gang. The first time he joined a gang was 11 years old, and that was by his uncle. Was it his uncle or his cousin or his big brother? One of those three. We'll get into it, but they got him into a gang.
And there are cases where overwhelming abuse and stuff makes a difference to me. Like a perfect example would be the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case, because that girl had been abused her entire life, forced to have surgeries and shit that she didn't require. So when she killed her mother, I was hoping she'd get off scot-free, quite honestly, because it was a case, in my opinion, of self-defense, because had she not done what she did, she would have been forced to live that life for the rest of her life, because that bitch Dee Dee was never going to let her escape that house.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. And everything that her mother was doing to her was causing her to get sicker and sicker.
Exactly.
So it really was my life or yours. I mean, that's the way I see it. Like, if I don't do something to get rid of you, you're going to kill me.
Exactly.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I never thought she should have got any time for the murder of her mother. It's just this guy. Oh, I remember that case, Arctic. Is she out? Did she get out?
No, she only got 10 years. She's supposed to be out either next year or year after next, from what I understand.
That's what I was about to ask Sixth Sense, because he was forced into this. He, as a child, did not get the help that he needed. And when he did, they took him off of it because he was being poisoned. I mean, as a child, he didn't know any better. He knew violence his whole life. So to me, in my opinion, it's just, I don't know. Death penalty in this situation, in my opinion, is just not the way to go. Why not just give him the mental help he needs? I mean, look at that mother. What's that mother's name that killed 5 of her children?
Oh, well, there's been several of them that did stuff like that.
Well, the one that is in a mental institution now, and she's been there for what, like 20 years or... Oh God, what is her name? Garnett.
Susan Smith is one that did it, and then
I know who you're talking about. She drowned her kids.
Yeah, Susan Smith is the one that drowned her kids in the car. There's another one. I know who she's talking about. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, and I just watched the documentary on her the other day.
Mother, okay, right here. Andrea Yates.
Yes, Yates.
So she's getting the mental health, her stuff going on. I mean, in all those years, she was.
Well, I mean, and there are cases where there's extenuating circumstances, like in Amber's case. she had reached out for help several times. She told her husband she did not want to have any more kids, and he forced her to have another child. And she had already been suffering from postpartum from the last 2 kids that she had had, and that third one just pushed her over the top. And so, yeah, I don't think she should have been. I've got mixed feelings on it, but honestly, I think the judge made the right decision in that case to put her in a mental institution rather than put her to death. Now, with this dude, I mean, I can see that too. I could see keeping him locked up for the rest of his life rather than putting him to death as long as he never sees society again.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. He definitely should never step outside. I mean, when he got out the first time, that's when all this happened. You know, he got out, and then what he did, these crimes that he did, happened. And it involved his family as well. His family was all involved in it. So it's like, oh, I don't know. And he also defended himself. He didn't get a lawyer.
But I mean, there's a lot of serial killers where if you want to get down to the nuts and bolts, they had suffered terrible abuse when they were younger. I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer's dad was no angel. Well, actually, his dad Lionel wasn't that bad, but John Wayne Gacy's dad was a real fucking prick.
Yeah, he was a fucking douchebag. You know, but then we have to look at their whole family as a whole, too. Like,
you know, with Jeffrey Dahmer, his dad actually did try to get him help at one point. You know, his mother was in complete denial about everything. And from what I understand, for most of Jeffrey's life, his mother wasn't even in the picture. And when she was there, she was drunk and using drugs. So,
yeah, she was fucked up the whole time. He's not safe, however, he could be productive to society in prison. He could be, and I think we find out, we're not going to play it all today, but he does talk about like life in there and what things could have been like if he did get help. And but it'll get into all of that. Let me play some more.
As well. I mean, bipolar disorder as well. And my dad and my aunt, because my mental illness comes from my dad's side of my family. So, yeah, they told my mom that I should get committed to the hospital, and that she should get help for me. And like she did, my mom did. My mom was always trying to get help for me, man. Like even before I got out of prison, my mother filed a petition with Johnson County Attorney for the Board of Mental Health to review me and a commitment to a psychiatric hospital, but they never did because the prison system lied about the prison psychologist Mark Waters lied and withheld my evaluations and my records so that I wouldn't get committed. But my mother tried. She tried to get civil committed. She did everything she could do as a citizen to do it, but they got sabotaged.
Can you tell me about Apapis and the goddesses that you see or hear? You know, and does that date back to childhood?
Well, back then I didn't know their names. I just knew that they were voices. But then once I got like 21, 22, when I was in solitary confinement, and then they revealed themselves to me, and then they told me the demons and stuff, and they told me that they've been whole life, and they've been monitoring me and telling me that I'm their sacred king and that I'm supposed to resurrect the kingdom of Hatshepsut, Queen Hatshepsut, the Egyptian queen. And I guess she was like the first Egyptian queen that was a witch. Like she used to work, she was of the grimoire and of the underworld. And they said that she was believed to control the demons. And they say that the demons told me that I have sacred Egyptian royalty bloodline of that kingdom. Queen Hatshepsut, 1453 BC. And I started doing blood rituals, blood magic and stuff like that, and worshiping her.
when did you first start hearing the voices of these spirits, which you said were later demons and later these gods or goddesses?
I heard them as a kid. So since I was like 5 years old, from the earliest time that I can remember.
What was it like the first time you heard it?
It was scary. It was scary because it was at nighttime, and I was outside in the nighttime playing, and then it got dark, and then I started hearing things. Like I thought there was somebody hiding in the dumpster because we stayed in an apartment complex, and I thought there was somebody hiding in the dumpster. And I looked into the dumpster. I climbed up the side of the fence and looked into the dumpster and was looking around the dumpster, and I didn't see anybody, but I was hearing the voice clear. And then that's when I got scared, and I told my mom that was the first time, but she brushed it off. And then I was telling my dad and my family, my sisters, and they just all just were saying, stop playing make-believe games. They thought that I was just playing a make-believe game when I first started telling them about it.
Was that the norm during your childhood? Is there wasn't many people that believed what you were experiencing was real?
Well, up until 8 years old, until I got 8 years old, then I got committed to the hospital. Then that's when my mom, after I got out of the hospital, I had 9 months of psychotherapy sessions with a psychiatrist named Jane Dalkey out of Omaha, Nebraska. And I was under medication, and she stated in my second competency here in June 10th of 2014 that off of the same evaluations that you have in your possession, she would have diagnosed you with a child form of bipolar if she was ethically permitted to do so. But she said that in 1995, you couldn't diagnose children with bipolar disorder. It was unethical and unprofessional of a psychiatrist to do so because there was no neurological resonance imaging. That's like the MRI of the body. It's of the brain, though. That's how they see the disconnection from the right frontal lobe of the brain, and or the chemical imbalance as well. So, yeah, she testified to that in the transcript. That's on the transcript. So that off of those same evaluations when I was 8 years old, she was diagnosed with a child form of bipolar. She was ethically permitted to do so.
So you go to this psychiatric hospital, you're 8, then you get out, you get 8 months or so of therapy. What happens after that? Do they follow up, or do they just let you slip through the cracks? What happened after that?
Basically, I slipped through the cracks. My mom stopped taking me. Because my dad was threatening my mom. My dad was threatening my mom because I was taking medication, and the medication was making me more calm and more relaxed. So I have as much high energy, because usually when I would go to my father's, I could be very high energy and, telling my dad about what I do at school and, little things that I do. Because my dad, he would give me positive praise for negative actions. So it made me want to be bad. He would, if I would beat somebody up, he would make me act out how I beat the kid up, and show him what I did to him, and he'd be laughing. So he would constantly reinforce, big, strong, aggressive, dominant, be violent, be dominant, you know what I mean? So when I start taking the medication took that away. And so my dad thought that they were trying to kill me and thought they were poisoning me. So he basically was behind my mother to stop taking me and stop putting me under the medication. So basically, out of fear of my father, my mother stopped doing it.
What is your guys' take on that? I mean, he gets on medication, it's calming him down.
For me, I don't know if Children Youth Services were involved in his life at all, but he was set up to fail, and that's sad But there were several places where, he might have been able to turn things around, but he needed to be on his medication full time. And the state had him in custody at 21. You could change your life right there. You're an adult. These actions aren't good. You're better on your medication.
This is true.
I don't know. I don't agree. I mean, I agree. Yeah, you're an adult, but I just still, it takes me back to he's 8 years old. He can't make a decision at that time. And then, you just, at 21, you grow up to, you're an adult, but then again, you went through everything you went through already and you're used to that lifestyle.
Yes, but he's escaped the situation by that point. He has the medication that he needs, and he has that choice to make whether he's going to take the medication that's going to keep him halfway stable or not, and he chose not to take it. If I were to get off my medication, because God knows I got mental health issues, if I were to get off my medication right now and start killing people, no one's going to be like, oh, poor Arctic, he got off his meds and he killed 18 people, but he had a bad life, and let's just not put him to death. Let's just put him in a mental health institution.
No, I mean, go through shit. I'm dropping everything. Going through everything that he did. I just keep going back to that. I mean,
Lexi,
hey, Nina.
For me, we all have that point in time where we struggle. There are family dark history in a lot of people, but as Arctic said earlier, that usually makes a normal functioning person want to do better than how they were raised, not inflict more torture on innocent people.
He's not a normal person, though, because of everything that he
But he had the tools in adulthood to become a normal person. He had the medications. These were available to him. And he chose not to take. If you have high blood pressure and you die of a heart attack because you didn't take your medication.
Have any of you been incorrectly medicated? I definitely have, and it was not good at all.
I mean, yeah, I'm going to be the first to admit it takes a while to get the right meds. But if you want to get better, you're going to stay on it. You're going to try everything you can to get better.
But okay, at that point, I got to go to the bathroom. But at that point, don't you think he's old where his brain is already developed to what it is? I mean, like, he's grown up. His brain's already.
I can only speak for myself. Okay. I was at a point in my life where I'd tried to kill myself 3 times. I was not only suicidal, but I was having homicidal tendencies. I was really at my wit's end. The first medication that they put me on was called amitriptyline, and that made me even more homicidal than what I was before. It took a good year for them to get my medications stabilized and get me on the right medications to where I felt halfway normal. And even now, if I were to take everything that they want me to take as prescribed, I'd be a complete and total zombie. But I've learned how to adjust the meds to where I can function as a normal human being in society.
Yeah, I get what you guys are saying, but he wasn't taught that. He didn't know, and he didn't even graduate from any. I don't even think he made it past the 8th grade. He didn't, or less than that. I mean, he wasn't taught like this is the right way, this is the wrong, this is right, this is wrong. He was taught what was wrong his whole life. He didn't. I mean, his brain functions different than ours. Obviously, I I don't know. I get what you guys are saying, but I just feel different about this guy. I think that maybe if we hear everything and more of the background, but I mean, it won't. That's y'all's opinion. I have mine. I mean, maybe you guys are right. What do you guys think in the comment section? I just, I don't know. Was it right he killed people? Hell no. But
Your heart, Lexi, is why I love you. And I get what you're saying. I just,
hold on, I have to take a bathroom break before I pee on myself. I'm not gonna drink it. I promise. Hold on.
please don't. I mean,
I guess I guess I come from it from a perspective of having experienced severe mental illness myself. And I've never killed anybody. I've had the thoughts. I ain't going to lie about that. But even when I was at my rock bottom, I found other outlets to take my aggression on. I played violent video games where I got to kill people online rather than going out and killing people in person. So, I don't know. But we're all wired differently, so.
and that's it. We are all wired differently. I have never been a fan of the death penalty. But you know, if you can't safely keep them somewhere, then you know, and this is something
that this guy needs to be put to death. I'm just saying he should never see society again under any circumstances.
and that's what I'm saying. And if we can't guarantee that, if the only way to be sure of that is death, then I have no other better, you know, I don't know. It's a tough situation, but he did what he did, and there's families and that are shattered over it.
And well, the first 4 years of life are the formative years. Developmentally, 80% of your subconscious personality is formed, 0 through 4. And see, that's what I'm thinking. Like, okay, he's young at this age, being shown what to do, what's right, which is really wrong, and he doesn't know any better. I don't think he would ever see the light of day if he got out. I mean, they would.
Well, he should never get out. That's my point. I'll concede that we don't necessarily need to fry him, but he should never ever get out of an institution.
No, definitely not. I mean, I don't even think a mental hospital, but just doing life in prison on medication. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, we've got people sitting in jail for life who never even killed a person, who were just associated with cult leaders who did kill people. None of Manson's, a lot of Manson's clan never killed anyone themselves. A lot of them, but they're sitting in jail because they were associated with Manson.
Yeah.
If we had checking convictions on here, I'm sure she would tell us. There are a lot of people sitting in jail for life for drugs.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly. There's people sitting in jail for life right now that only had, you know, a little bit of weed because of the whole 3 strikes and you're outlaw. So
exactly. And you know, if we're going to fight for somebody that shouldn't be in jail, I'm sorry, honey. You knew my opinion on. I hate when we're at odds.
There's people out there that truly are, in all likelihood, wrongfully convicted for murder. Brendan Dassey is sitting in jail right now, who didn't have anything to do with the murder that he's accused of. His uncle likely didn't kill that lady either. If y'all have seen Making a Murderer, you need to go watch it. It's a very good documentary. So, but there's a lot of people out there that are still sitting in jail for murders that they didn't necessarily commit. Because back in the day, there wasn't as strong of DNA technology, or like in Stephen Avery's case, he was wrongfully targeted. This man had already spent years in jail for a rape that he didn't commit. So he goes and he starts to sue because of his wrongful conviction, and they targeted him and pretty much framed him for a murder that he didn't commit. So,
I mean, and these are people that should be fought for. And I just, I mean, I came across Nicco's story, and I'm like, wow, and Garnet, it's fine that we can disagree because we're gonna have disagreements. I think someone
Absolutely. I just don't like it when I'm on that other end from you.
And Lexi, I don't think you're understanding us, because we're not saying, hey, let's fry the dude right now. We're saying that we're just simply saying we don't want him in a position ever again to where he can commit these types of crimes.
I do understand what you guys are saying. And, if he got a retrial and they sentenced him to make sure he was doing his time until he died in prison, then, I mean, that would be better than killing a man because he grew up fucked up. And
let's just face facts. In all likelihood, he'll probably never get put to death anyway. So many people that are sitting on death row will die of natural causes before they ever get a needle in their arm. So,
well, that's true too. That's very true. That's the fucked up justice system as well. Yeah, our justice system is.
If I'm going to fight for someone, I'm going to fight for someone like Darlie Routier, who was brutally attacked in her home, had both of her children killed, and was wrongfully convicted for killing her kids.
Yes. Absolutely agree.
I'll fight for anyone too, but I know what it's like to have a mental illness and not be thinking on the right path. And that's why I think I'm so interested in this, because you can't say it. I mean, there's definitely a mental illness involved. And I mean, I'll fight for, we need to make a whole nother, we need to call Kim Kardashian or something for all these cases and start fighting. I mean, what can we do? I'll be willing to fight for other people as well. This man, I just don't think that anybody ever thought of it like that. I have read that some people, like there's a well-known creator that also agrees, which is really weird for her to, that he shouldn't have got the death penalty. But we could definitely cover other stories where, I mean, I think we do cover stories like wrongfully stuff. But I don't know.
I know that once checking convictions is done with her fostering of those kids and everything, I definitely want to do a panel and talk about the Darlie Routier case.
Absolutely. I'm all down for that. We have to do it on a day when I'm not working or running crazy.
Right. Darlie Routier. Why have I never heard that?
That is a case from my childhood. And Arctic, I don't think you're much older than me, so.
I'm 46, so.
Oh, I'm older than you, honey.
That was one of the first cases that got me interested in true crime. And, they really did her wrong. Basically, she was convicted in my opinion, off of some footage that aired on a local news station of her out at her kids' graves, spraying silly string and smacking on gum.
Yeah, I know who you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the media, the police knew the media would spin that in a way to make everybody hate her.
But what they didn't show was where they had a prayer vigil and a very respectful
Beforehand.
service to those kids before. The only reason why they were out there with silly string is it was the child's birthday, and the child loved silly string and stuff, and they were
And
out
the
there.
birthday party had already been planned. Like,
Yeah.
they had already had these plans in the making before the children died. That is so important to me. She didn't organize the party afterward.
Yeah, I remember that. I watched a couple.
And there's been jurors come out and say, had they known everything that they know now, they wouldn't have convicted. There was even a woman that wrote a book that completely just grilled Darlie, that said, you know what? Everything I said in that book, I take back.
Yes. Well, wasn't there a mask and a sock that was found?
There was a sock that they are still to this day trying to get DNA testing done on. And there, if I'm not mistaken, they found a fingerprint or a palm print that didn't belong to anyone in the house and didn't belong to any of the investigators.
Yes.
Oh, wow. We definitely should do one on that.
I mean, okay, you have to understand on that case, you know, this woman had her throat slashed, and slashed to the point that they missed her jugular vein by mere millimeters. Who is going to slash their own throat like that? She had bruising up and down her arms so severe that it was obvious she was trying to defend herself.
Yeah, that is really fucked up. I remember that. Nobody's gonna do that to themselves, and I don't know.
Well, they put it all because the blood was over the sink and on a dish. I would have to go back and look at it, but the thing is that she was in shock. Her kids are dead. She's been slashed. Of course, she's gonna take a second and probably stand there and try to collect herself. So of course the blood's gonna pool.
You know, and why would she kill her kids? You know, if she was doing, which they claim she was doing it for the money. Well, here's the thing on that. Those kids' life insurance policies were small. They barely covered the cost of their funerals. Now, her husband, Darren, had a huge life insurance policy on him. So, and if they were going to go after anyone, in my opinion, it should have been Darren, because it's come out that he had colluded to do some big scheme, an insurance scheme, to where he was paying someone to pretend to rob the house. And what if that went wrong? What if that's why those kids are dead?
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely. 6 Sun said who? Oh, I don't know who you guys are talking about. I forgot the name.
Her name is Darlie Routier. She was convicted of a murder. It happened back in the 90s out in Roulette, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas-Fort Worth.
Yeah, we'll do a show on that, and we'll have to have checking on there, and we'll all talk about it. I definitely remember hearing that case, and it was just a couple months ago. I watched some videos, and I was like, oh my God, you know, because I saw the silly string part, and, you know, I didn't know the whole thing, but then I watched a couple more videos, and I remember thinking like, oh no, no way. Oh, there's checking. Checking.
Hey, checking.
I need your help in this checking. this case. Well, I don't know. We were just talking about what's her name, Darlie. Why can't I?
Darlie Routier.
Yeah, and how she's wrongfully convicted. We're going over this man, Nicco Jenkins, and we're talking about his family history, his growing up. We're listening to an interview right now that Unforbidden Truth podcast did with him. This guy does interviews with serial killers over the phone. He has a YouTube, which is Unforbidden Truth Podcast. So we're just listening to his interview. I'm just gonna play a little bit more, and then we could stop and like we'll do the part two, because there's a lot of stuff that we got to get into. Yay, checking's back. Okay, hold on.
When did your criminal activity start? As a child, was it around 8 or was it before then?
It was before 8. I took my mother's gun to school when I was in the second grade for River City Roundup.
What kind of gun was it?
It was like a 25 pistol, 25 millimeter. But that was like the first time, besides like shoplifting and stuff. And then after that, I got out of the hospital. It just got worse. It was like arson and assaults and theft by receiving, stolen cars and stuff. And just a lot of stuff that I was hanging around older kids and basically being influenced by them, doing older things that I shouldn't have been doing. But I was just very ahead of my times. Like, I always hung around older adults, so I always acted older than I was.
Besides the carjacking, were there any other violent crimes that you were committed when you were coming up as a teenager? Were they just petty, like burglaries or shoplifting?
Yeah, just petty stuff.
Let's talk about the charges you caught when you were 16, how they came about, and what the aftermath was and everything.
That's one of the other things. That's the same situation. Voice commands telling me to do those things and commit those crimes, and I was untreated for my mental illness, and I was just following the commands of the voices that was controlling me.
Do you remember specific things that these voices would say to get you to commit these crimes?
They would just tell me like things like this is what we need. You need to do this. This is what's gonna make us happy. We'll be able to drive around and go do things and be able to go do this and go do that. It's just like little manipulation tactics they say to me that would just make me, because I always liked to drive. I always liked to drive when I was young and growing up. So that was one of the things that kind of interested me when they started saying that stuff.
Whenever you went and do things that you would hear, them telling you to do, would that exacerbate anything and everything that was going on? When you just ignored it or didn't do so?
No, if I didn't listen to them,
anything that was going on
and yell loud, and then it would just drive me insane. Like, it would just drive me crazy, and I would just start saying everything that they're saying, and just my behavior would start getting weird. Because I would be in such a frenzy and so agitated that I couldn't even talk to my mom. I couldn't even talk to my sisters. That I would be very aggressive and violent towards my family and loved ones and friends and just everybody, just because I wasn't doing what they told me to do, and my mind was so disturbed.
Those charges you caught when you were 16, were you charged as an adult?
Yes, I was charged as an adult. I actually did the crimes when I was 15, and I got charged for them at 16. 3 months 16 when I got arrested.
So were you being held in an adult jail, or were you being held in juvie at the time of your trial and everything?
I was in the Douglas County Youth Center and the Juvenile Detention Center.
What age were you convicted, let alone sentenced to prison and showed up in prison?
Well, I was sentenced to prison at the age of 16. I went to prison at 17, so I was in prison from the time of 17.
Were you housed with other offenders that mean you were a juvenile, or were you like segregated in PC or?
Well, in the state of Nebraska, they have a youth prison. So like everybody there is under the age of like 20. So people would be like from anywhere from 15 to 20 years old. But the 20 and 19-year-olds were in a different mod, and then the younger 18 and under inmates were in a different mod. And I went to the adult prison at 19, though. They sent me to the adult prison at 19 because in the state of Nebraska, you're an adult at that age.
How did you spend your time in prison the first time?
Well, I used to get into riots and fights and assaulting guards and stuff like that. But basically, all of that violence and all of that stuff triggers my mental illness. And I mean, all the violence is birthed from my psychotic symptoms and my untreated mental illness. Hold on real fast. Let me grab something real quick. I'm grabbing because they have an IMO, involuntary treatment medication, and I want to read to you what my psychologist says about that. It's crazy that you just brought that up. My psychologist from the prison system name is Brandon Hollister, and he has to always submit a narrative for why I should be on involuntary medication treatment. And it says, he says, I can actually send you these documents too. It says danger to others is evidenced by, and then it says, it gives the history. It says, Mr. Jenkins presents with a significant history of aggressiveness and homicidal ideation related to mood and psychotic symptoms, and he has reduced his aggressiveness and homicidal ideation since initiation of an involuntary medication order in April 2018. I recommend additional treatment with involuntary injectable antipsychotics to further reduce his agitation and delusional beliefs about NDCS staff, especially as Mr. Jenkins has a history of medication non-compliance, and he has failed to comply with voluntary oral psychiatric medications.
I want to stop right there because that kind of reminds me. I mean, okay, so he's 8 years old. He's getting put on medication, and his dad is making him stop because he's telling him that it's poisonous. He's threatening the mom. Could that be why he didn't want to be put on medication at that time? Because right now he is on medication. But when he was that age, I guess now he's, it's involuntary or whatever. Oh, Garnett was off. Wait, Garnett. Oh, she disappeared again. So, he's told at a young age that he needs to get off that medication and that it's poisoning him. So could that be why he didn't want to take it?
It could be.
I mean, imagine your dad telling you that's poison and, threatening your mom. I don't know. I don't know if I think he does go over that. I've gone over this interview so many times and I can't remember. Where did Garnett go? Medications have improved a whole lot since too. I don't know what Nicco did, discussing schizophrenia, mental illness in general, not in defense or offense of what he did. I'm not in defense. I just don't think he should die if he is on medication now and doing a whole lot better. Like Arctic said, if he does not get out, if there was a chance that he will not get out forever, live the rest of his life in prison, and he has not gotten in any trouble, I mean, I just don't see the point of them frying him. But then, like you said again, too, it might not even happen. People are on death row for years and years and years, and some, it doesn't happen. So, I will leave the interview at that part. Let me just tell you guys what he did. It was a whole family affair. Okay. All right. Okay, so at about 5:01 a.m. on August 11th, 2013. Now remember, he got out the first time. Um, da, da, da. In I'm not sure the exact date. Okay, anyway. So at about 5:01 a.m. on August 11th, 2013, a patrol officer discovered two bodies in a white Ford pickup truck parked near a swimming pool at 18th and F Street in Spring Lake Park. Hold on, let me see if Garnett's trying to get on. No. Okay. The two victims, identified as Juan Pina and Jorge Ruiz, had been shot in the head and their pockets turned inside out. They were lured to meet two women for a sexual encounter. The murder spree began when this random double murder less than 2 weeks after his release from prison on July 30th. Okay, yeah, this was a couple weeks after. On August 19th, around 7 a.m., the body of Curtis Bradford was found outside a detached garage at 18th and Clark Street by a man returning home from a night shift at a convenience store. Investigators arrived to find two bullet wounds in Bradford's back. It was later revealed that Bradford and Jenkins had posed for a Facebook photo posted the day before. Bradford would be the only victim familiar to Jenkins. Jenkins' fourth and final victim, Andrea Kruger, was discovered on August 21st at about 2:15 a.m. by a deputy sheriff responding to shots fired call. Her body was found lying in the road at 168th Street or 168 and 4th Street, with multiple 12-gauge shotgun wounds to the face, neck, shoulder. Kruger had been returning home after a bartending shift near 178th Street and Pacific Street. Surveillance footage showed her locking up the Deja Vu Lounge at 1:47 a.m. At 6:30 that evening, Kruger's gold 2012 Chevrolet SUV was found abandoned 12 miles away in an alley at 43rd and Charles Street. Later that week, a news conference was held by Douglas County Sheriff Tim Dunning, in which he stated that investigators believe the SUV had been abandoned roughly 2.5 hours after being stolen, and that a feeble attempt had been made at setting the victim's interior ablaze. So there was 4 victims. On August 30th, 2013, Jenkins was arrested on unrelated terroristic threats charge. By then, the evidence against him had mounted. Investigators had the image of a female associate on surveillance footage at a local gun outlet buying the kind of distinctive ammunition that had been used to commit the killings. Additional footage had been pulled from cameras along the route to Kruger's abandoned SUV. On the evening of September 3rd, Jenkins confessed to all 4 murders during a rambling 8-hour interview. Jenkins told police that the acts were sacrifices to Apophis, that demon person we were talking about earlier. He was charged with 4 counts of murder following the confession. So with him confessing, he never mentioned his family. I'll go over that in the next video, but his family was involved as well. On February 19th, 2014, Jenkins filed a federal lawsuit seeking $24.5 million from the state of Nebraska for wrongfully releasing him from prison. He stated that his claims of hearing voices from Apophis were repeatedly ignored. In the 6-page handwritten filing, he stated that being kept in solitary, remember I said he was kept in solitary for 2 years straight, augmented his schizophrenia. He blamed correction officials for the 4 killings. Jenkins believed or claimed that his problems were caused by mental illness and that he has schizophrenia, bipolar, and obsessive compulsive disorder. The judge ordered a psychiatric evaluation. and a psychiatrist concluded that Jenkins had antisocial personality disorder. After being declared competent to stand trial, Jenkins scored a 68 on an administered IQ test. The proceedings against Jenkins commenced. On his request, Jenkins was allowed to represent himself at a trial under the guidance of advisory attorneys. Throughout the trial,
See, I want to interrupt there. If he only has an IQ of 68, he should have never been allowed to defend himself.
right, because that's really, really, really low. Really low. But I mean, what does it mean when you had the guidance of advisory attorneys? He had them
It's
there.
kind of like co-counsel.
Okay, so I mean, would they like
So
tell him?
he may have defended himself. He may have been the mouthpiece, but he did have attorneys advising him.
Okay. Throughout the trial, Jenkins maintained that he acts under the command of Ophias. His courtroom antics included speaking in tongues, howling, and laughing at prosecutors, recounted the details of the victims' deaths. On April 16, 2014, Judge Peter Battalion found Nicco Jenkins guilty of all 4 murders, which he should. Jenkins was initially scheduled to be sentenced on August 11, 2014. The date was delayed indefinitely following a hearing had to determine whether he was capable of understanding the death penalty proceedings against him. On July 29th, Judge Battalion ordered Jenkins to be housed at the Lincoln Regional Center Psychiatric Hospital until doctors were satisfied with his conditions. Officials at the regional center refused to house Jenkins due to inadequate security, but doctors agreed to treat him at Lincoln Prison. In May 2017, Jenkins was sentenced to death by a 3-judge panel. He was also sentenced to 450 years on weapon charges connected with the murders. On April 20th, 2020, the U.S. Supreme Court refused to hear his appeal. So that was everything that happened. Isn't the IQ of 70 the minimum? Well, then he was like, oh, there's Garnet. You're muted, Garnet. Oh, there you
I
go.
fell down my steps.
You what?
Fell down my steps.
Are you okay?
I am.
Oh my God, what the hell? What were you doing?
I gave away some Christmas wreaths to people in my community. And I was taking them to meet a woman that was picking them up. And my slips are really slick.
Oh my God.
So, yeah.
Lord, you're trying to kill yourself.
No good deed goes unpunished, guys. That's
Right?
the thing in my life. I just keep doing them, though.
Oh my God. Arctic said you can't score lower than 70 on an IQ test. Nicco Jenkins, hold my beer. I'm dead. I'm fucking dead. Oh my God. I can't. All I can hear is checking convictions dying right now if I'm fucking dying. I'm sorry, Garnet.
You're good.
Like, what the fuck?
I just didn't want everybody to hear me crying as I was getting back up.
Well, I would have been your support. Oh my God. I know. Did you not look at the steps? What was wrong?
Steps have like a slime on them, and I have to clean them off every spring and fall. Well, I haven't gotten them done today. This weekend they will get done.
Tell Lawrence I said he better get them done now, ASAP.
No. Lawrence will not do them. I will do them myself. I did. Because you got to actually scrub that stuff off. He'll hit it, but not the way it'll need done. You know, kid.
I know. Mine would be like, hell no.
Hit and miss. Lawrence will go out and do it, but it's going to be, half the job that I want done.
You gotta be careful. We can't have two of you missing in action. We've already got Garnett missing, so you can't just leave it just to me and Lexi.
You mean checking? You mean checking missing?
Yeah, we've got checking missing, and then we've got Garnett ends up in the hospital in traction. It's just going to be the two of us,
right? What the hell? Y'all are trying to leave us. It's
No.
okay, Garnett. It's okay. We disagreed. Okay. Somebody said the other day that me and you agree so much that we need to disagree sometime. I'm like, what? I'm like,
because we do have our disagreements, but we also each see the other's points, and it's always with respect.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I do. I understand where you guys are coming from, and I definitely know I don't know why I feel bad. There's my one for the day. Well, I need you to send a voice thing laughing for me. But yeah, you guys, that was part 1 of Nicco Jenkins. We went over, how he, and I spelled his name wrong in the video. I didn't even mean to, but I don't know why I did that. We talked about how he snorted his sperm, and we talked about how he drank his pee. I do not recommend doing that to anybody. I don't think it will help any kind of serotonin levels.
Definitely won't.
If you try it, let us know.
I do have a funny story about the pee thing, though.
Oh, God.
When I was locked up on the mental ward of the hospital and they were doing all kinds of tests and stuff, I had them come in for a urine sample, and they left the cup and the nurse left the room. Well, they had just brought my lunch tray to me. So I filled the urine specimen up with apple juice. And when the nurse came back in, I was like, man, that looks a little cloudy. I think it needs to be refiltered. And I drank the apple juice in front of her.
Oh, my God.
Wait, you peed in one?
No. Okay.
Oh, Lord. I was like, wait, hold on.
Told her it needed to be refiltered. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. God. I can't. I could not. You probably have your husband or your mom laughing all day. Like, I can't even imagine. Lord have mercy on your funny bones if that happens.
Oh.
Well, you guys, we will have a part 2. It will be just another surprise because I don't know why Arctic and Garnett just never know when I'm coming up with something.
I went up to a message just in case.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do these things, and I just go with it, and then I don't know.
In your defense, I did have some notice because I knew you had been wanting to get a video out, and my schedule's been crazy. So,
well, we did the video yesterday, and I was supposed to do part 2, and then right here comes number 2. You guys, I'm giving y'all 20 minutes. Part 2 is coming. Check your messages in about 20 minutes. Yeah, I've been wanting to do this, and You know,
That's
but he,
okay because I don't know what time that press conference for the boy in the box is tomorrow, but if I can catch that press conference live, there will be no notice. I'm just going to pop up live streaming that press conference.
well, then, well, I'll have my notifications don't work. No, you better tell us. You better tell
Well,
us.
I mean, I will drop a link in the chat and I will send the live to the group chat definitely.
Okay,
But
yeah, do that. And then you can just, whenever you go, we just click it and go. I'm glad to have caught a live stream. Great to see you guys. We're glad that you came, Sixth Sense, as always. You weren't there yesterday. I was sad. But we do have to do that part two. My mind doesn't work like others. I'm everywhere. So that other part two from yesterday will come probably sometime tomorrow. Um but yeah, thank you guys as always. If you guys are not subscribed to Arctic Fox True Crimes, please do. Checking Convictions and also Unforbidden Truth. You guys, this, let me show you. I'm telling you, you guys will be um definitely amazed with what they have on here. So this is it. Unforbidden Truth podcast. This is where the serial killers like interviews with them are. They have a lot of them. They have a lot. And with Jenkins, they actually have two parts to the interview. It's really, really long. But we will get into all of that. And thank you again to Unforbidden Truth for letting us use the interview. We really appreciate it. Speaking of Yates, Andrea Yates, they even have a video visiting the gravesite of the Yates children.
wow.
Oh,
I'll definitely have to go over there and check that channel out.
yeah, definitely. Please do. You guys go subscribe, show them some support. Definitely some good stuff. So thank you guys for coming, and Garnett, don't fall down anymore.
I'm gonna try not to.
I will. Oh my god. Oh, what is this? Find your love in your city. I already found my love. Girls 18. I think you should take the advice of snorting some semen. You're in timeout. Damn voice to text, but you know what I mean. Nice to see you. Always a pleasure. All right, you guys. Well, thank you guys so much. Yeah. I hope everybody has a blessed day, and we will see you all later.
All right. Bye.
Bye. The $6 million women. I'll take that. Oh, what is it? Very great to see you too. 6 million. Oh, I wish. Love you. Thank you guys all for your support. We will see you guys later. How do I get off of here?